everything's good for all of us. And too many of you don't want to give our current administration their props for rolling out a vaccine response, a whole pandemic response, actually. You don't want to give them props for how they've handled geopolitics, for how they're handling domestic stuff, including all of these natural disaster things going on. Everybody wants to point the negative finger at this administration when we just came out of 4 years of literal hell. Millions of people are gone because of this past administration. 45 has literal blood on his hands, yet people want to act brand new to this situation. And it's very infuriating, but it's also very frustrating to me that people don't seem to get that we don't have to pretend to be like them. Joe Biden was like, take me as I am. This is it. He even told that then President dumbass, man, shut up. Because you just get frustrated with Trump's lies and bloatism and just the stupid crap that he says. And we could feel Joe's frustration having to try to eloquently debate this man baby. And it felt like we are not just running somebody who does have the political chops. We are running a human being versus a literal monster. And I just want people to understand that that is who we should be pushing. Just like VP Harris when they run. And any Democrat who is a full Democrat, not a Democrat in sheep's clothing like we've seen in the NC GOP scandals, but people that we can vet, people that talk to us like people who have clear, definitive answers on women's rights, on the rights to the LGBTQ, on Black lives and brown lives, indigenous lives mattering, on an America that, in spite of us being a melting pot and knowing that there are clear issues and differences that we need to work through, are willing to work together across the board to make it stable for all of us, because making enemies is getting us nowhere. That is what we have to focus on. Not behaving like the people that are trying to destabilize our democracy and push us into a weird theocratic ideology. We have to stop playing these games. There is no way to protect us by being like them. You can't convince me of that. Now, I'm going to get ready to wrap this up, but I definitely wanted to touch upon another thing that I saw on YouTube. And it's really weird the amount of people who utilize the platform of TikTok to spread misinformation. And I know some of y'all know me from the Twitter days, how I push back against Hotep's Dusties or Ashies, as I call them. And I know some people will probably be in my comments, oh, you're being racist, Tim. Whatever. These brothers who get on there spouting bullshit, anti-Semitic, bigoted, anti-woman, just hateful nonsense. All to take claim for other stuff. And I guess the newest thing, and they got a white man to get on and spread it, which we're in a critical mass level of dumb in this digital age. But apparently the new thing is telling people that the reason why there were so many black people in North America is because we were the indigenous people, which, no, we weren't. I know that migration patterns show that people from different ethnic groups traveled around this globe. There were a lot of dark-skinned seafarers as well as white-skinned seafarers. But to try to take from the First Nations, which a lot of us who are mixed have ties to that too. So I didn't know where or how to be offended. Should I be offended from my clear African-American descendant of slave roots that this man was trying to downplay, ignoring that his ancestors might literally have owned my ancestors, brought them over, bred them like cattle, sold the children off and bred them too? Am I supposed to ignore that reality? Or the fact that it didn't just happen in our part of the country? It was a North American issue, especially South America and the Caribbean, where plantations and stuff were key for sugarcane, tobacco, and tea. Come on now, man. But the whole idea of trying to tell the world that the slaughter the literal genocide of Native Americans, the rehoming of certain Native tribes, which my great grandfather went through, is infuriating, and it's got to stop. And the continual miseducation of a certain demographic is at our own detriment. Now, I do agree with the sentiment of both Native and Black people who say you can't tell us our history. And that is the beautiful thing of being a part of people who not only have traditional oral traditions, but we know our history. Some of you might not want to know our history, but we know our history. We have museums where you literally proudly displayed our lynchings. We know how you raped our ancestors, how you kidnapped our ancestors, how they were crammed in ships and treated less than precious cargo, even though they made this nation billions in revenue for that time, because you traded their blood and their bodies for your profit. So, Mr. I don't see how you can explain how there were so many of us. You bred us. That's why so many of us have definite features that might not have originally been our template. Even though I do kind of agree with the brother who stitched in that that continent is the start point for a lot of human. And when you go to the African continent, since there's a whole different ton of countries connected, you will see different features because Africa is full of different textures, different skin tones, different eye colors. And a lot of people don't realize that until you go and visit. It's like the same thing. I told my partner the other day because we were talking about that young man's video, and a lot of people make misconceptions about Taiwan because a lot of people don't think outside their backyard, and they think, oh, it's an Asian country, so they must all still be living in huts and stuff. It must be like the old world stuff that we seen in old Japanese and Chinese samurai videos, right? It's like, no, their whole country is a technological mecca. If you see, I showed him the buildings in Taiwan. He was like, wow. And I was like, yeah, that's a technically advanced country. And a lot of racist people, and I'm not calling my partner racist, but there's a lot of actual racist people that don't realize that there's a whole big world out there and they are way more developed than we are, and we need to get our game up. And we cannot do that if we keep allowing these doofuses like the asshole in Florida, the asshole in Texas, and other places to run us into the ground. But it's on us. We have one job if we're lucky, and that is to cast our ballot and the vet, to be personally politically invested. And way too many people think they can just half-ass it. They don't have to think about it, or they don't want to think about it until it's too late and they're stuck under somebody who takes their rights. If you don't want that happening to you, I want you to be more politically aware and invested. It doesn't take much. We are literally in the day and age where you can find out everything at your fingertips about who's running and why. It's not that hard, y'all. But I'm going to get ready to wrap this up because I see I'm going red again. Thank you, everybody who sat in. HV Daedalus, Topher, I really appreciate you both. I'm going to get ready to wrap this up. Hopefully, next time the feed will go the full hour and then some. And like I said, thank you to everybody who has been liking and sharing the Indiegogo. Thank you to everybody who donated. Fingers crossed that the whole thing with the putting it on hold was just precautionary and then I'm just being paranoid. But until I know, all I can do is pray and hope. But I'm going to get ready to wrap this up, go make some dinner for the family. I will definitely see y'all on Friday night, and just take care of yourselves. Love y'all.